Millions of people dream of becoming wealthy, but only a tiny percentage ever break through. And what separates them is not luck, talent, or even education. It's a mindset shift that millionaires almost never talk about openly. A mental rewiring so subtle yet so powerful that once you understand it, your entire relationship with money, opportunity, and success changes forever. Welcome to HistoriNomica, and today we're diving deep into the mindset shift millionaires never talk about. A hidden psychological principle rooted in history, behavioral finance, and real-world data. If you stay with me until the end, you will understand not just how millionaires think, but why their mental operating system is fundamentally different from 99% of people. So let's begin. The first thing to understand is that most millionaires didn't become wealthy because they found some secret strategy. They became wealthy because they learned to see the world through a different lens. According to a long-term study by Fidelity Investments, 88% of self-made millionaires built their wealth through consistent behavior patterns, not windfalls or inheritance. That means they weren't born with anything special, they simply learned to think differently. And this different thinking often begins with an uncomfortable truth. To level up, you must unlearn almost everything society teaches you about work, money, and success. For centuries, human societies from ancient Egypt to the Roman Empire, from medieval Europe to the Industrial Revolution conditioned people to be workers, not wealth creators. School systems originally designed in Prussia in the 1800s focused on obedience, repetition, and conformity, because governments needed soldiers and factories needed workers. That system still shapes modern education, which is why most people grow up believing that working harder directly equals earning more. But millionaires reject this idea early in life. They unlearn the belief that time equals money. They replace it with a new mental model: value equals money. This mindset shift is the foundation of modern wealth. Think about it: if time created wealth, construction workers, nurses, and farmers would be the richest people on earth because they work harder than almost anyone. But in reality, wealth comes from leverage, skills, tools, capital, or knowledge that scales without increasing effort. This is why the average millionaire in the United States has at least 7 income streams. According to IRS data, they don't work 7 times harder, they work once, then build systems that earn repeatedly. But here is something deeper. Millionaires unlearn the emotional relationship with money that keeps most people trapped. Researchers at Cambridge University found that people develop their core money habits by age 7 because early experiences with scarcity or stress imprint on the brain. If you grew up hearing money doesn't grow on trees, we can't afford that, or rich people are greedy, those statements create subconscious limits. Millionaires, whether intentionally or through exposure, break these mental limits. They begin seeing money not as something scarce, but as something created through problem solving. History proves this mindset leads to wealth. John D. Rockefeller, born into poverty in 1839, rewired his mindset from scarcity to opportunity long before he became the world's first billionaire. Modern examples like Oprah Winfrey, Jeff Bezos, and Sarah Blakely show the same pattern. They learned to think in terms of possibilities, not limitations. But mindset alone isn't enough. Millionaires also unlearn the fear of failure. A Harvard Business Review analysis shows that the average millionaire has failed 3 times before achieving major success. That means failure isn't a crisis for them, it's data. Most people avoid risk because they fear loss, but millionaires view risk as the price of progress. In fact, behavioral economists Daniel Kahneman and Amos Tversky discovered that humans fear losing money twice as much as they enjoy gaining it, a cognitive bias called loss aversion. But wealthy individuals learn to override this bias. Instead of asking "what if I fail?" they ask "what if this works? And what can I learn if it doesn't?" This shift is subtle but life-changing. Another mindset shift millionaires adopt is long-term thinking. While most people chase short-term pleasure, quick wins, fast money, instant gratification, millionaires delay reward. According to a study by the National Bureau of Economic Research, 70% of self-made millionaires invest consistently for at least a decade before their wealth becomes noticeable. Their mindset is built around compounding. Albert Einstein famously called compound interest the 8th wonder of the world. And mathematically, it is true. $500 invested monthly at an 8% annual return grows into over $900,000 in 30 years. Millionaires understand this deeply, which is why they focus on patience, not perfection. They unlearn the idea that success must be immediate. But perhaps the most surprising mindset shift millionaires never talk about is this: they stop trying to do everything alone. History's wealthiest figures from Andrew Carnegie to Warren Buffett are masters of delegation. Carnegie once said, "No man will make a great leader who wants to do it all himself or take all the credit." Modern research supports this. A study from the American Economic Association shows that entrepreneurs who delegate effectively grow their businesses 33% faster than those who don't. Millionaires unlearn the idea that independence equals strength. Instead, they embrace interdependence, building teams, networks, and partnerships that multiply their impact. Another hidden truth is that millionaires unlearn the belief that money is made by working. Instead, they learn that money is made by thinking. Productivity is not the goal, clarity is. Clarity of vision, clarity of decisions, clarity of value. The wealthiest individuals in history, from Julius Caesar to Elon Musk, were not the hardest workers. They were the clearest thinkers. They made fewer decisions, but more impactful ones. Data supports this. According to McKinsey research, high-performing CEOs spend 43% of their time on strategic thinking and less than 10% on execution. This mindset shift, thinking over doing, is one of the biggest separators between average and extraordinary outcomes. But here's the final mindset shift, the one most people never realize until it is too late. Millionaires don't chase money, they chase skills. Money follows skills. Skills follow habits. Habits follow mindset. A 20-year wealth study by Thomas Stanley found that the average millionaire reads at least 2 nonfiction books per month, and over 60% of them focus on self-education long after finishing school. Why? Because every new skill is an asset. Every new insight expands opportunity. Every new habit shapes the future. Millionaires unlearn the idea that learning ends with school. In their world, learning is the engine that produces wealth. So what can you take away from all of this? If you want to think like a millionaire, you must unlearn 5 things. Unlearn the idea that time equals money. Unlearn the emotional fear of money. Unlearn the belief that failure should be avoided. Unlearn short-term thinking, and unlearn the belief that working harder guarantees success. Replace these with the millionaire mindset: value creation, emotional neutrality with money, learning through failure, long-term compounding, delegation, and strategic thinking. If you make these shifts, your outer world will begin to change because your inner world has already transformed. The mindset millionaires never talk about is not magic, it's awareness. Awareness of how the world works. Awareness of how wealth grows. Awareness of how thinking shapes reality. So if you're ready to step into that new mindset, start unlearning the limits that were placed on you by society, by school, by fear, by habit. Because once you unlearn what holds you back, you unlock what moves you forward. And that is the true secret behind every millionaire's success. If you found this video valuable, make sure to like, share, and subscribe to HistoriNomica for more powerful insights into history, finance, and the strategies that shape the world. Your journey to a new mindset and a new future starts today.